All right, so welcome back for another issue or another episode here of the Visibility Summit. And we're interviewing Brigette Callahan, who's been a client of ours for a very long time. Actually, I was a client of hers first, and you'll find out why in just a minute. Let me tell you a little bit about Brigette. She's a slide presentation designer with 30 plus years experience creating compelling presentations. She's worked with some of the biggest names in business, including Xerox, Acura, Samsung, and PayPal. She's passionate about helping speakers create slides that engage and inspire their audience and turn them into raving fans. So, Brigette, welcome to the Visibility Summit.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here.
Thank you. So I had invited Brigette into our community because our speakers need to speak community. When I come across people that provide services or education or have tools and tactics that are of benefit to our speakers, we invite them in to do trainings and workshops and give our community value. So I'd known of Brigette. We had an opportunity to connect in an event, and I invited her in to do a workshop for some of our higher level speakers. And as she was sharing her brilliance about slides and what were some good practices and what were some not so great practices, I realized that my slides looked very much like her before pictures, and it was time for a level up and an improvement. So I quickly became a client of Brigitte's, and I love my slides now. I always get feedback from audiences about my slides, that they're really compelling, that they help tell the story. And as a speaker, I'll tell you, I love them to do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. And we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But so glad I made that decision to have to work with Brigette directly, and excited to have her share with you some of those things that led me to that decision. So Brigette, let's go back to that moment, and maybe actually, let's, before that, what got you into working with slides and working with speakers, and what makes this important?
Well, I've always wanted to be an artist. I tell people ever since I was a zygote. And so I got a degree in art in college. And my first job was working with an art director, helping them with brochures and catalogs and stuff. 2 years later, I got hired at an event company. And that's where I learned slide design. And this was before computers. So when you think about it, you have a spelling error on a slide, it's going to take 3 days to fix it. No, you can't even imagine. And it just opened my eyes to having artwork on this giant screen, like a billboard, and everyone can see it. And it's like, wow, I've never thought of art that way. And so I really loved the medium. I was there 5 years, and then I moved on to other graphic design positions. But I always loved the slide design. I actually worked live events. I started working live events because producers would call me because I knew the computer well. And they'd say, can you run the slides live? Can you make changes before they go to stage? Absolutely. And I've been doing that for 30 plus years. And what I realized is I see the audience get taken out by what they put on the screen. And it's mind blowing that the speakers on stage, you've got 800 people in the audience. The projector or the screen is like 10 feet tall, so it's bigger than the speaker, and yet they put up this stuff that makes no sense. No one can read it, and they even take a laser pointer and point at stuff that you can't see. So I'm feeling like a cat, like, oh, it's a game. So
I love that with the laser pointer.
So complete disconnect, right? And so I actually looked at joining this speaker training, speak to sell understanding. And it was there I thought, I'm never going to be on stage. I'm just going to help speakers be on stage. I want to understand their world. And what I realized was, I guess I need to be on stage. And I'm that reluctant person. I always worked backstage. I never saw myself go around the curtain and get on the front of the stage. So it was scary for me. And I'm an artist, I'm an introvert. I don't like talking about myself. So it really took a lot of effort. And now that I have that, and I've created this mission to make a difference for 1 million audience members by working with 1,000 speakers and finally putting an end to the death by PowerPoint. That's what I'm about. And that's what drives me. And that's what has me want to talk today, because I just want to put the word out. There's a better way. Right. And so that's kind of the journey of what got me here. And, when I met you, and it's like, you're helping me get on stages, you're helping me with, all the collateral and stuff to speak even better. And it's just a natural progression to where I'm at today. And I got to tell you, a friend of mine was talking to me last week. She says, yeah, I'm working with this woman. She's a coach. And have you heard of her? And I was like, no, I've never heard of her. She says, her slides suck. And I told her, have you heard of Brigette Callahan? She goes, yeah. I'm just like, yeah, but they don't want to reach out, or they know. But what that meant to me was like, okay, my name's getting out there. I'm getting visible. So that's cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And so when I had you come in and you were, pointing out some of the things that frequently we as speakers do, A, because we don't know better, and B, it's just the easy setting. You and I spoke about this, some of the things that were really a challenge with my slides are really just the default settings. They're in PowerPoint, but not knowing better, no more white backgrounds and plain bullet points and things like that. We were able to make that change. And yes, once you get your message dialed in, you want to work with 1,000 speakers, and you want to help them with their PowerPoints and elevate that. So it's a better experience for the audience, and it's a better experience for the speaker. Then it's time for you to pour visibility on that by you getting out there and being seen and having that message heard. And you're a great speaker, and we love putting you in front of new people that need you.
Thank you. I mean, I have so much fun talking about my expertise and how it helps people. And your story is a very, I don't want to say typical, but it's what I love about it is like, I get to be proud of my material. I get to know that it's going to connect with the audience, and that they're going to appreciate that I put the effort in with the slides so that they get what I'm talking about. And it's almost like, I believe all slideshows should be like a Hollywood movie. And when I say that, it's like, oh, that's cool. And I believe that. And so, I like to model kind of how I talk about slides from the Hollywood perspective. You need to start with a script, an outline, then a script. And from the script, then we storyboard. And from the storyboard, then we create slides. Most people, they just open PowerPoint. The default is that white background with black text, and they create their slides and they think this is what you do. And so I'm here to educate and let them know there's a better way, right? There's nothing wrong with what they did. They're just missing that whole connection and that appreciation for their audience. And I'll tell you, it's like an Uber connection, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so. Well, for me, I know that it really changed, and I see slides in a different way after having worked with you. And it makes such great sense. But I mean, until you know something, sometimes you know it, but you don't know the why. And one of the things that I remember you sharing with me, and we changed in my slides, was that big white background that many times we're like, oh, we want to keep it clear and simple, and let me put that big white background and just a small image here or a little bit of text there. And that's actually harmful for our audience. Explain that if you would.
Well, it's kind of like you're going to the theater. You spent $20. You're going to see this really cool movie. You got your popcorn, you're sitting in your chair, and the trailers are done and the movie's starting, but they didn't turn the lights off. And the lights aren't that bright anyway, but you're just thinking, hey, you ruined my experience here. And then multiply that on, you're driving at night, you got pulled over by the cops, they come over to the side of your car and they shine a flashlight in your eye and they're asking you, where's your license? So like, I can't even see right now. That's what a white background slide causes. It's blindness. Okay. And when you think of how the brain works, when we're looking at projected light, when we're looking at the text on the screen, our eyes go to the light. And so when next time you watch a Hollywood movie, notice where your eyes go. Notice, we look at faces. Okay. We look at their eyes. Are they looking at us or are they looking at something else? If they're looking at something else, what are they looking at? Are their hands involved? What are their hands doing? So these are the key points. Immediately when we look at a picture, we gather a whole set of data about what this is conveying. And so with that, what are you giving them to look at, to remember as you're talking? All right. So an image is worth 1,000 words. It speaks 1,000 more than what you can say, but it also takes 10 times more of the brain to consume. So it imbues in that memory so much more than just words does. So when you can match a great visual with what you're talking about, they're going to remember you. And they're going to, you're going to have that visibility, right, of that memory. And it's so much more fun because you can see that reaction. And, I like to put humor in my slides. So every once in a while, I'll have a funny slide. I surprise my group. Okay, it's time for cat videos. If I want to get starting to laugh, I just watch a cat video. But, it's really being thoughtful of what's the visual that you're speaking to. And most people, they don't think they're creative. They don't think they're visual, but 70% of all of us are visual. So when we look at something, we have a judgment about it. And so I ask you, the next time you see a slideshow and it's kind of boring, what do you think of that speaker?
Right.
Just back up and think, what do you think about that speaker? You think, well, they're wasting my time. Weren't very thoughtful with what they're putting on the slides. Is this really helping me or is this their cheat notes?
Right. Because we've all sat in the audience with that speaker that has a whole page of words and they read it to you.
I know. Why do they do that? They think it's going to help you. And you're feeling like, well, they think I'm stupid. I can't read.
Like I could read that and I frequently will. And then I read at a different level or a different speed than the speaker. And then I'm not listening to them because I'm reading.
Exactly.
And then if they say something that's not on the screen, then my brain is fried.
Yes.
And I never thought about these things until I started working with you. I mean, and it just totally, some of these things, I feel like I knew, but I didn't know why. Like when something makes you uncomfortable or something that just doesn't feel right, but you have no idea why, like that big white background or all the text on the page. Like I knew you didn't want to have a lot of text that, people would start reading it, but like a lot of the psychology behind it that you really are just so well versed on, and like what's going on in your audience's brain and what you can give them instead to really guide them through the journey of your talk, your presentation, has just been so brilliant. I appreciate it so much.
When I'm curious, I'd love to walk through your point of view, because once we finish your slides, what do you think of the new imagery we provided?
So I love my slides now. It's so much more compelling, and having to articulate what I was looking to do for Brigette and then her creating, pulling different images. Like for me, it just feels so much more natural when I am giving a presentation. Maybe in front of a particular audience, I want to go a little bit more in depth into a particular topic. When I had a lot of words on my slides, I was really locked in to that was the presentation. Now there's a lot more flow to my presentation. So I can use the same images, the same, 5 to 10 slides that kind of convey some thoughts and the journey that I want to take the audience on. But because I'm not locked into the specific words that go with each of those, I have a lot more freedom in my talk. So whether it's a shorter talk, I can go through those a little bit more quickly and just hit the high points that I'm sharing verbally with my audience. Or if it's a longer talk or a workshop, I can have the same image up there, but really go more in depth with the audience in front of me. So for me, having more images rather than here's the bullet points made a big difference in the flexibility of using my slides. I don't feel like I have to recreate the world every time I get a talk. I can now look at my slides and go, okay, how much time do I have? Okay, let me pull these slides out. This is what I want to focus on. And I can adapt my talk much, much more easily. So as a speaker, it's given me a lot of freedom. It's given me a confidence that I didn't have before, because I would start off every presentation pretty much with that blank white slate and be like, what bullet points do I need to put on here? And limited pictures, because that was kind of a pain in the neck for me. Like, I wasn't comfortable with the medium, and why I thought I could just whip it together, but it's just so common. And now I'm like, oh, I've got this great base. How do I use this to really serve this next audience? And, as you well know, I mean, I speak pretty frequently,
Mhm.
from once a week to 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I've spoken over the last several years, especially in the virtual or digital space, where we can speak more frequently, and been everything from, a 5-minute talk to, hours long, and using some of those same slides. And I can't appreciate you any more than I do for what you've given me and what I now have to work with.
Well, and I love that because, those are the words that I wanted to get articulated from an actual client. And I remember working with this guy. He was giving a talk on why finance doesn't get along with sales. He was speaking to corporations in Silicon Valley, and he was the former CFO of Microsoft. And now he's on a speaking circuit. And so he hired me on the referral of his speaker coach. And he wasn't sure how it worked, but he had a perfect script. Perfect. It had all his stories. It was well in line. He didn't even have to read it because it was in him. And so this was the perfect environment for me to create slides for. And I worked on it, and he mapped his story, why finance isn't along with sales, on the Star Wars movie. Okay. So it's like, oh my God, I see all these visuals now. It's going to be awesome. And I gave him the slides, and I had his script in the notes area. So it's just like, it's really easy to present. And he looked at, he scratched his head, and he's like, how do I present this? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, from Microsoft, he's looking for bullets. I said, look, you have these strings of stories you're telling. You used to work at Kodak. Your picture on stage with the president receiving some sort of award. Tell that story when you see that picture. When this picture comes up and you're on this floaty out in the middle of the ocean and it's raining, it's like, that's when you start talking about what happened to our department that we have such a low satisfaction rating. Like, what happened? And, it takes practice. It does take practice. But once you get that practice, it's like this partner on stage with you, this partner that embraces your audience and gives them a big hug of thank you. I want to connect with you. And it's a lot of fun.
Yes, without a doubt. So what are a couple of just some quick, we've touched on, don't have a big white background. It causes slide fatigue, and it really actually makes it, hard for your audience to follow along, plain bullet points. What are a couple of general tips or tactics that you could share with the audience?
Well, if you put any text on a slide, they're compelled to read it. And if they start reading, guess what? Their ears turn off. So
Right.
you're talking and they're not listening. So I tell people, if you're going to put all that text on the slide, stop talking, wait till they're done, and then go to the next slide. And they look at me funny, but it's true. That's how our brain works. And notice yourself, the next time you see a slideshow, how do you react? Next time you go to a theater in a movie, how do you react? And ask yourself, do you look at dark things? Do you look at light things? What grabs your attention? It's motion, it's movement. But in slides, we don't have a lot of that. And please, because I say motion and movement, that's in movies, not because you put all these animations in. Don't do that. But ask yourself, when you look at a photo, like I said, we look at the face, we look at the thing, but we look at light things that are light. And so if the text is light on a dark background, it's more relaxing, it's more easy to consume. And not a lot of text, but even just a couple of words with a photo to kind of ground that this photo is about that. And people go, how do I know what words to use? And it's just like, that's what I help them with, how to condense it down so that the brain really connects and can listen to you and can enjoy what's on the slide to remember so much more. So yeah, no white backgrounds, keep it dark. If your colors are green, it could be a dark, emerald green or something, or people, are into purples or violets, for that kind of thing. There's so many great colors you can use. And then what complementary colors are you using for the text? You want to find that harmonious. I mean, I'm a trained graphic designer. I know what works. And when I work with you, this is what I provide for you. And it's like a no-brainer for you. You get your branding all mapped up onto your slides. You get these visuals that really speak to your audience and are congruent with your talk. And it's like, all you have to do is bring it. And so that's what makes it fun. And like you said, I love giving presentations now, right? And it's exciting. And today I could have chose to show my slides, but I just want to have a conversation, because even in the conversation, I could get people thinking in visuals. And what I hope people walk away with is they will look at slides completely different after this talk, because I'm saying, go look at the slides next time. How do you react? What is it on that slide that you're attracted to? All these little graphic elements that people put, all these templates out there, they're designed by graphic designers that don't know anything about slide design. Slide design is very distinct. And because of that, your eyes keep going to these little graphics and these elements, and you get distracted, and then you kind of go back, what are they talking about? And so you lose them, you confuse them. And that's why I go simple is better.
Yeah, and so we're talking about visibility in this summit, and many of our audience that are here listening, you are entrepreneurs, you are speakers, and looking for visibility to grow your business or bring awareness to causes that are important to you. Visibility about shining the spotlight. And so it seemed really appropriate to have Brigette here with us as well, because having great slides can help support that cause and can help you be a better speaker, help you be a better presenter, bring more awareness to the things that you really want to shine that visibility spotlight on. So I'm so glad that we had Brigette here with us to talk about slides and her mission of ending slide shame around the globe for speakers.
Yeah, I want to create slide envy.
Yes, slide envy. I love it. I love it. So, Brigette, I know you have a gift for our VIPs. If you haven't upgraded to VIP yet, you definitely want to do so. You're going to get access to the VIP portal. And this gift from Brigette, you're going to definitely want to take advantage of. So share with our audience what they're going to find in the VIP portal from you.
Well, I'm actually going to conduct a live masterclass, which I call Look Over My Shoulders as I Fix Your Slides. And in this masterclass, bring your slides. I'll look at them. I'll give you, feedback and what are the best strategies for the particular, notion that you're talking about. And when we do this in a group format, people bring different questions and other people learn from it. It's so funny when I do this. It's like everyone's a looky-loo. They can't take their eyes off the screen. But it's so much fun. And, I talk about what I'm talking about here as far as what works, what doesn't work, and how does the brain react to it and they listen to it. It's like, well, of course. How come I didn't know that? So I'm here to convey and work on that. So it's really fun. Get the VIP. It's worth it. You're all about visibility. You want to be that VIP person that is visible. So I can't wait to see you guys.
Great. So you're definitely going to want to take advantage of that, whether you're a newer speaker and you maybe don't even have a slideshow or presentation yet. Start it off the right way. Much easier than going backwards. Or if you're a little more seasoned speaker and you want to put that polish, you want to, elevate the game of your presentation, so that you get your point across to more people, and whether that means more awareness for your cause or more sales for your business, having a great slide deck will definitely help you with visibility. So my dog in the background, I don't know how loud you can hear.
Loving the
She agrees as
conversation.
well, Lola's saying, yes, you definitely want to go to Bridgette's masterclass. So upgrade to VIP, get access to the VIP portal, where you'll be able to take advantage of that masterclass with Bridgette, as well as gifts from our other speakers. And you will get your ticket to the upcoming visibility event, where we're going to be going even deeper into the subject of visibility and how you can grow your business, of course, with our famous speakers competition and more. So Bridgette, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I just appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Daniela. It's so great to see you again.